The Seattle Seahawks, I believe, just found a young star. And if he is a star, it really changes the whole dynamic of the team. If you're new to the channel, we're Detroit Lions fans, but we have this channel all about teams and stories that just don't get the love nationally like they should. Seattle Seahawks, kind of in a down year, still pretty decent year, but could be in line for a really big bounce back year. And they've got a linebacker that's going to kind of replace Bobby Wagner and kind of go back to what those Seattle teams there in 2011, 12, 13, what those teams were all about. Man, it was really good linebacker play, great secondary, really fast. And this guy's interesting. So it's Tyrese Knight out of UTEP. So the interesting thing about him, before I get into that, he spent a year at Independence Community College, was really good there. Then he spent 2 years there. Then he goes to UTEP and was just out of this world with his production. 6 foot, 233. And they took him in the 4th round, pick 118. And here's the thing about this guy. And so basically an article was on him about, hey, he's got all the tools. And if he can be the player that the Seattle Seahawks want, then it's like, well, man, this changes and really expedites who they want to be defensively and kind of get back to being really strong defensively with a defensive-minded head coach, Mike Macdonald, that comes from the John Harbaugh defensive system that's been proven now to be something really unique. And there was actually an interview with the Michigan defensive coordinator who, again, same thing, Martindale, who came from the John Harbaugh defensive tree. And he talked about some of the things about, some of the Rex Ryan. There's some of these older guys that defensively it had gotten lost. And the defenses now had to evolve to the offenses. The offenses are doing so many jet motions and doing mismatch type of stuff that they had to evolve. And John Harbaugh, Mike Macdonald, Jesse Minter, who's in at the Chargers, Martindale, who's the new defensive coordinator at Michigan. Anyway, all these things. I say all these to say Mike Macdonald is on the cutting edge of defenses, and you pair him with really good players, and you could have something really good. So despite producing a gaudy stat line at UTEP, he had okay athletic numbers, good but not great. So many draft experts had him going a little bit later, but he ends up going in the 4th round to the Seattle Seahawks and really be the successor to Bobby Wagner, join up with Mike Macdonald. And while some may think Knight will need extensive time to develop, former All-Pro linebacker for the Seattle Seahawks said production will always win, right? If he made plays there, then he can get to the next level and he's going to make plays. It's perspective. Perspective is the hardest to teach. If a kid has the perspective of making plays, he's got the intuition, he's got the instincts, you can only incrementally give them different vantage point of what they see and what to focus on, but some just have it. I think what you have in Tyrese Knight is a guy that can come in, if he can come in, be who you want him to be right from the start. Now the defense kind of gets solidified and you can build around that and you have the core. Same thing that you went through with quarterback, honestly, where it's like, I don't know, Geno Smith, I don't know. As he's taken over for Russell Wilson. It's like, man, I don't need you to be Russell Wilson. I don't need you to be Bobby Wagner. Be yourself, be the best version of yourself, and we will be just fine. And that's the same thing for your new linebacker. Another player, another Michigan ties, Michigan fan up here in Michigan, is OLO Timmy is going to be the starter. And is he the answer? And I'm surprised he hasn't been the answer so far. And here's why. He was at Virginia, then he went to Michigan. At Virginia, he was a raid air attack. At Michigan, it was pro style, run heavy, more of a run. It was a balanced attack, but I mean, they were running the ball. And OLO Timmy was just have a fond place in my heart for him because he was there when Michigan really turned the corner these last 3 years, beating Ohio State, national championship. OLO Timmy, man, was he good. Strong, big. He's capable of knocking defenders off the ball as well as having enough movement skills to handle zone concepts. 100%. He should be able to handle whatever Ryan Grubb dials up in the run game. This is why this is huge. It's Geno Smith. Nobody is trying to convince anyone that Geno Smith is a top 5 quarterback. No, instead, it's, man, if he gets a run game, which every quarterback wants, but Geno Smith especially, if he gets a run game, he's dangerous. Geno Smith is. And then Geno Smith is good, and then the run game excels. And it's just this balance. But you need a good center because you've got good running backs. So you got good running backs. Your center's there. The offensive line's good. Geno Smith's going along. Defense is good. Like, this is the winning formula. So after playing in his lone start last season, OLO Timmy grabs the bull by the horns and doesn't let veteran Nick Harris enter the competition to replace Evan Brown at center, winning the job. Hold on. Best case scenario. First of all, this seems like a run-on sentence. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. Evan Brown was with the Lions. Evan Brown's solid, but he's not better than OLO Timmy. It's like, OLO Timmy, be the man that we think you are. Worst case scenario, far from the most athletic center, OLO Timmy struggles early in the season, facing off against several quality defensive lines after winning the starting job, leading to the new O-line coach Scott Huff plugging Harris in the lineup midway through the year. You just want OLO Timmy to be the one to go. When Seattle drafted OLO Timmy 2 years ago, he seemed like the ideal candidate to make a push for playing time. However, dealt with minor injuries throughout his career, which ultimately prevented him from having a legitimate chance to jump over Brown on the depth chart. So, right, year 3 feels like OLO Timmy needs to be the guy. When you drafted him, I thought it was the greatest draft pick I've ever seen because you got him later in the draft. And I thought, isn't that the best center? And he was. He was voted best center in college football, on the best team in college football, best offensive line in college football. You draft him and he still doesn't play very much. And it's like Evan Brown. It's like, what is going on? So let me know your thoughts in the comments on that one, because I'm curious to see. I haven't watched every Seattle Seahawks game to know why he's not out there, what fully is going on, but it seems like he should be. Also, happy 4th of July weekend. What's going on? I mean, I'm imagining, I'm just picturing, right? I've never been to the West Coast, especially the Northwest. Seattle. Would love to one day. What's the weather? Is it rainy always? Or is it in the summertime? It's like, no, not in the summer. I mean, is it a rainy season or is it constantly rainy? I just picture rain kind of always. Maybe that's what it is. I could look it up in 2 seconds what the weather is, but I'm just thinking 4th of July in Seattle, I'm sure it's sweet, and I'm sure lots going down. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Again, if you have not subscribed to this channel, we cover teams and stories that don't get the love like they should from the national media. So make sure you subscribe, and we'll see all of you on the next one.